Hello, SpikeNet and friends show right here with you. Today, I have the pleasure to introduce not only a good friend of mine, a former assistant coach of mine, a mentor, a friend, a soundboard, former assistant coach for the George Mason Patriots, current assistant coach for Princeton. Joe, how are you doing? So good to see you, man.
Welcome, Joe.
Very well, very well. It's great to see you guys. Like I said before, rookie Carlitos, great to meet you. Yeah, we're doing well. Thank you for having me on.
Hell yeah. I just want to start, we in the intro I said you coach Princeton. You guys had
Mhm.
an up and down season this year. I would kind of check in the standings and I was like, okay, Joe, we need to do some work. But
Okay,
then you guys are probably, since expanding the tournament, the first 6 seed to make it to the finals. So clap it up for that.
potentially.
And then
Thank
want
you.
to kind of break down how your season went, what things you guys worked on to kind of finish strong.
Sure, sure. Yeah, up and down is maybe the outside word for it. We had a lot of learning that we needed to do. So, yeah, it's going to sound cliche, but you're winning or you're learning, right? We did a decent amount of learning, and I was stoked to have the learned stick. And what I mean by that is some of the stuff that we were learning along the way started to cement and started to just provide for us more often and more consistently. Some of the things that we needed to make sure we were putting even more into. Everybody works on serving and passing without a doubt. We have different lineups that we had been playing with, some by necessity, some by design, and kind of needed to figure out who was going to be or who could be those 3 to 4 or 5 guys that we were going to rely on for ball control, as much ball control as we could get at least. We also started to implement a little bit more competition throughout the year, just in terms of, as Jay would call them, I guess, opportunities to improve. But at the end of the day, just certain sprints at the end of drills, depending on winning or losing, differences as we kept score, aggregate scores that we had to run for, or do different physical ways that we could improve. And I think along the way, at a certain point, there were moments where individuals started to put their foot down and we were learning how to win, or there were moments that were recognized as to we need to capitalize here or in these types of moments, in these series of points. And as soon as a couple guys started to feel that frequency at the same time, we started to feel a little bit more of a push in that the stuff that we were working on in practice started to become more consistent. So it's not always the way you draw it up. Happy that there were 6 teams available for the tournament and happy to be one of those 6 teams. So,
I think it's awesome news that the tournament is finally expanding. It's kind of tough, like I played in the IVA, you played in the IVA, seeing the same
mhm,
faces all over again can get kind of tiring. And it's cool to see new programs like Charleston making
for
some
sure, for
programs like
sure.
PGIT who's been consistently trying to break through. And then obviously
Hmm.
in the more cemented names like Princeton, Mason, Penn State. You
Yep,
have a final game with Penn State. Uh,
yep.
they have the EIVA Player of the Year, Harvey. How was facing that team at the Penn State gym? I know it can be kind of tough playing the finals in there.
Yeah, fun. Really, really fun. It was fun to be a part of it at that point, especially. We were very grateful to be in the position that we were in, and didn't take away from the competition. It didn't take away from the goal at hand. But there was definitely a bit of house money that we were playing with towards the end of the season, right? Especially as we just talked about squeaking into the tournament. So um, they played well and they implemented certain game plans, and I think certain maybe defensive scheme or two where they were ready for us. I'll put it to you that way. We do a couple of things that are our calling card, and they were able to transition out of those pretty well. I think starting middle of the second set, towards the end of the second set, and then in the third, they made another adjustment that we needed to respond to. And like I said, talked to Gadget a little bit before this about technical difficulties, or not difficulties, I shouldn't say that, but some of the technical things were going down in edits, and yeah, we wish we would have been able to put up a little bit more in those moments. But credit to Penn State, credit to some of the things that they did, credit to their preparation.
I was watching the game and it felt like that, like you guys were ready to it, but they always found a counter to whatever you guys were doing, and you can see it on the score. Like the first set was so close, but then they start opening up, and then. But
Yeah.
I got a question. Once you got to the tournament, to the finals, um, with Mason, do you felt it like, all right, I think we got this. I think we can make a push at the end, or it was always like the whole season was going that you were like, well, we'll see what team shows up, or what was the
Yeah.
vibe of the team when you guys made it?
Once, I think a little bit before as well. There's a certain, as you guys all know, you've been in the game long enough. There's a certain level of play that once you're able to reach it and your standard can kind of push from there. I'm not going to sound, I don't want to sound too traditional cliche again. You feel like you're more ready at that point than anything, whether it's a good day, bad day. You know that your floor at least is going to be high enough where you prove to yourself that you can play at the level that's necessary to compete. We had moments against every team in conference. We had some nice moments throughout the year. I think at a certain point we had went to five with every team in conference. So even though we weren't accumulating wins, we knew that it was on our side of the net, and we had some things and aspects of the game that we could polish up with a cleanup, and we would have been competitive. So I think it was probably in between the nights that we played George Mason on the road. Actually, it was a couple weekends prior to the tournament play, and we reached a standard of play where our blocking and our defense, along with our serving, was we're just leveling out in a really good way. And at that moment, we knew we still had backs against the wall. We still had two matches that we had to go to Cambridge and win in order to give ourselves the opportunity. But knowing that we reached that level and it wasn't, a team making a ton of errors from the service line or unforced errors, or a team just not playing well at opportune moments for our side of the net, we earned it. So I think it was a couple, three, maybe three and a half, four matches prior to us getting there that we felt we could make a run at this thing. We didn't know how it was going to shake out other than we'd probably be six. So we were waiting until the very end to see. I think there was a few different timelines, right? Going into the last weekend, if Penn State doesn't come out victorious against Mason both times, I think Mason ends up as the one seed and they host. And within that, if NGIT dropped anything to Sacred Heart, which, you know, unreal year that they had this year as well. And forget seedings, they went to five with just about every team as well. So they got a couple of ballers, one included, that's super impressive that helped carry them. And you just, there was a ton of parity throughout the entire league for most of the year, other than in the standings as you looked at Penn State at the top of it. So I think after the first night last weekend of the regular season, we knew it was going to be hosted by Penn State. We were just trying to get in. And from there, we knew again if we had won, and again the right way was nice to win, but if we had won and we were going to be able to get in, that we kind of had this mindset that if I were anybody else, I wouldn't want to face us. And I think that reigned supreme all the way up until Penn State felt like they were grasping control of the match. And I think that probably happened middle towards the middle of the end of the second set. Third set, we gave them a couple of punches back and forth, but they had established some things that by that time their transition game was working real well. The setter change that they made in the semis into the semis and finals, Jackson Hurd just found the middles really well. And he continued to do that. Found them really well in transition as well. And if you're running middle third in transition, you're probably going to be successful, or you're doing things to make you successful. If you're able to pump consistently, the front row middle in transition, you're in trouble unless you find a way to stop it. And Still looking at some of the tape, but from what I'm remembering and some of the tape, it's yeah, we didn't do as well of our job as we could have. I'll put it to you that way. There's definitely some things that I'm already excited to get back in the gym with and take care of, but we're gonna have to wait a little bit.
I mean, props to your team because something that you and Jay always talked about to us was kind of like you got to keep pushing. You never know when the magic happens.
Yeah,
Even when we were having not a so great season, it was kind of like, you know what, guys, we just got to keep pushing. We don't know if at the end of the day, what happened to you guys. You go on that run and you get to the finals. And I think
yeah,
something cool that you brought up is uh, it's a learning curve, right? And something cool about the college game is you have a couple seniors, those seniors leave, you get all these freshmen in, and it's a bigger learning curve because obviously somebody that's going into a new level, they have to
yeah,
learn the game, they have to learn the system. So
Grow
grow,
too.
yeah, they
Yeah.
have to grow.
Yeah.
They have to get punched in the
Physically.
face. That's important. They have to get a
Yeah.
couple punches in. Um,
must.
but you have a couple seniors leaving.
Yeah.
How is the incoming class looking like? If you can say, I don't know if you guys already finalized that, but if you can share, how does that incoming class look like? Who are you excited about? I mean, all of them, obviously, you guys recruited them, but if you want to share that.
Sure, sure. Yeah, no, we're excited about the incoming class without a doubt, but I have to shout out the senior class that is right now. Like it's still very new, right? That this new season is technically upon us, especially as some of these other teams are still battling for the title. Uh, we're going to miss the hell out of the seniors that we have right now. So, homage to them without a doubt. I think they set a new standard and a new tone for hard work at Princeton and what that means. And just very, very proud for what they represented and what they grew into in order for us to make the push that we did. So, yeah, I got to say that because we had some ballers that stepped up in big ways this year on and off the court in the senior class. In terms of our incoming class, we've got uh, we've got four guys that are coming in that we knew of, and then we have another four that are walking on. And these walk-ons are able to get in on their own volition and throughout their own hard work throughout ninth through 12th grade or ninth through 11th grade at this point. And I can speak more to the guys that we've kind of been speaking with for a year and change, but still want to give them as a group a shout. The four guys that are coming in that I know that we've been speaking with for a while, and we've been a part of the recruiting process for a year and change in some respects. We've got one that we chatted about a little bit, but Gustavo from Puerto Rico, super excited about. Yeah, super excited about him. For a couple of different reasons outside of volleyball. One, just I love you guys and being able to kind of have a connection that's so close to your home and in your home is going to be awesome just to kind of foster for the next 4 years. So super excited about that. He's been playing, I think, I'm sure I'll be misquoted at this point. He's super polished for how new he is to the game. So I think the sky's the limit for him. We're excited to get him in the gym and see what he can do. There's another pin hitter that we have, two more pin hitters that we have. One of them is Lucas Bissell from California. He's a opposite that we're probably going to label as a pin and just get him in front of the ball machine and a bunch of different float serves, spin serves, and just see how he does, right? He's got a lot of dog mentality in him, but he's been focusing on the opposite for the most part for his high school and his club team. So big, strong, physical arm. Super excited. He's probably in the 11 and a half airspace too. So we're stoked about him, and we're going to see how his ball control comes along as well. Same type of prototype, different type of athlete, but Silas Louder is another pin. He's from South Carolina, or excuse me, North Carolina. Um, Another guy in, mid to high 11s that we're just going to see how he does in serve receive. He's been playing left side this past year in club, or at least passing and playing opposite, but in serve receive. And we're super excited to see what he looks like when he gets into the gym. And then our last recruit's pretty cool. He's going to play football as well. His name is Hunter Stepanek, and I know when he was being recruited, when we were recruiting him, he was a tight end slash a defensive end. I don't know if he's specializing more in one or the other now, but he's going to be training football in the fall. He's going to compete with them. And then when the football season ends, he gets to shoot over to the volleyball gym. Uh,
You know?
yeah, elite human being as well. All four of them, all eight of them really are at that point. But just to shout Hunter out, he wants. I'm pretty sure he wants to do something in pre-med. So on top of all that, he's trying to dual athlete at
Football,
Princeton
volleyball, doctor.
and just whatever you need.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the Anthony Edwards of volleyball, if you think about it. You know what I mean? He's going to be A1 from day one with whatever you need him to do, it sounds like. So we're excited to get him into the fray as well. And he's a three-sport athlete, almost doing so where specializing at a certain point becomes traditional now, right? Especially with the recruiting going the way it's going with NIL on the women's side, but on the men's side now. And not to get into that conversation, but just to see somebody who said, yeah, I know I'm going to go to school for football and volleyball, but I still want to play. And it's important to me to finish up my high school tenure as a basketball player. Even though he was going to do volleyball, we didn't know about football. We were trying to figure out one or the other. Still wanted to make sure he was doing football. So he just football, basketball, volleyball, while he's still doing club volleyball whenever he can after the season's end. But he stayed true all the way through and will stay all the way true, I'm pretty sure as well. He's going to play football, obviously. Basketball, I don't know. He might play a little bit of club. We'll see for this upcoming year. Obviously, for this past year, he played some basketball. You might have to edit that one out. We were trying to figure out if he was going to play basketball or not. He ended up playing basketball. He went to something in the regional or close to the state finals. So, yeah, we're stoked about him too.
I'm excited to
Yeah.
see this man on the court. I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
Taking that.
All of them in their own way are impressive. And it's crazy, Coach Schweisky, if I call him Coach Sam, Coach Schweisky, however, but one of those two, three nicknames as I refer to him. Coach is showing me videos and I'm like, oh, nice, you got one of Silas. And he's like, yeah, it's him playing basketball too, and he's just drop step dunking on people from however far out. And it's like, oh, okay. So we got some physicality that's coming into the fray. That's something I know we'll be able to rest our hat on, so to speak. It's just the ball control aspect. So a lot of reps in the fall.
You're also getting that Puerto Rican fire in the locker room, which is always fun. Also, hello to Sam. He has the Spanish in his back pocket, so I
Oh
know
my
he's gonna use
gosh.
that.
Back pocket, front pocket, chest pocket. He's got it in the brim of his hat. He's got it wherever you need it.
He's ready for that. So,
Unbelievable. The linguist.
I don't want to discredit the Princeton talk because obviously it was important to open up with that. And huge fan of what you guys did. But obviously now moving on to the tournament we are going to witness this weekend. First time it's expanded to this amount of teams. I think it is exciting. I do want to call out. I mean, we had conversations this past weekend. Even though a lot of good things are happening, there's still programs out there that need some help, need some love.
Yep.
Some of them closing, some of them came back. But I do think it is exciting, and I want to call out that it is very exciting, the expansion of the tournament. Obviously, it's kind of hard when it was kind of a win your conference or nothing kind of deal.
Yeah.
So I think if you want to talk about it on that format, because I know when we made it, I don't even remember. Was it 6 teams that made it when we made it?
It was an expansion year for you guys too.
Yeah, it went from like the final 4 to like 6, I believe, with 2 people waiting.
Right. I think the top 2 seeds got a bye.
Right.
Yeah, and the bottom 4 played.
I wish my memory was.
Or maybe it was,
Yeah,
it might have been 7 teams, eh? Because
7.
Conference Carolinas, by the time that you were in school,
Correct. Yeah, that's
they
the
were represented as well, right?
Erskine went in the first year we went.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, 12 teams. It's exciting news to me.
Yep.
I want to hear your point of view on that.
Point of view is it's not super expansive other than it's growing the game, right? I think there's always going to be conversation around how to do it the right way. At the end of the day, as long as it's not sloppy and we get matchups that are appropriate, right? Like I know the NCAA can throw in we've got a regional bias on this and we've got to make sure that, and we get to travel about yada, 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 which maybe I'm allowed to say or I'm not. They nailed it this year from what I can see. And we've got 12 teams that are now competing. And you don't look at the top four teams that have a bye and go, how are they getting a bye over this team? It's like, no, that's pretty chalk, right? As we talked about it, and you labeled this. I know we got the PDF somewhere, but thank you, Gadget, for sending it in the group. UCLA won their conference. Ball State won their conference. Long Beach won their conference.
Now you're going to get
Okay.
to the interesting one that we talked about a little bit before even jumping on this podcast, because they
Uh,
did lose their conference. Hawaii making it to the bye round, which again, talent wise, on paper, nothing wrong with that. Obviously, how do you put some weight on the conference play? Maybe that's a topic that can take an hour to talk about, obviously.
mhm,
But obviously, you want to respect the fact that some people won their way into the tournament.
sure.
I'm not against it. Again, Hawaii is make it to the finals for all I know. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And I don't know how the final couple of weeks played out rankings wise. That wasn't my lane completely. Uh, but I think Hawaii was top three, if not top two, correct? And they were back and forth, two and three. So,
They took 2 games from Long Beach in the regular season. So,
and that was at Long Beach, correct?
right.
So I have no qualms with them being a top four. I think as we chatted about it a couple of days ago, it was okay. So should they be ranked higher than Long Beach? And that's something that I think we could talk about for days and not have an answer or not have an absolute from. It'll be debated, and it's good that it's a discussion. There's the conversation of, well, recency bias, and Long Beach won most recently. So how could you not put them as the better team? Then there's body of work. And I think either way you place these teams, there's going to be an argument made against it. That's what I know for certain. So uh, I have opinions that we can get into without a doubt in terms of the matchups and what teams are which and who I think. I'm not going to put my foot in my mouth, I'll tell you that much, but at the same time, did some homework and had to scout against some of these teams throughout the year. And that's an interesting perspective for me is seeing which teams are growing, which teams have grown and either found an identity or maybe grown more within the identity they have. And within that, what kind of wormholes or what kind of launch pads have they created for themselves at this moment in time? Um, Not speaking from, the winning side, unfortunately, of experience, but momentum does matter. And that's part of what I'm saying. It's like, hey, these teams on paper can be what they are, but who's playing better right now technically has nothing to do with body of work throughout the season. You know, you would have, if we would have made it in, we might have been a 12th seed.
Right.
You see where I'm going with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
And then you never know what's what. I don't know what Penn State technically is, and they were ranked higher throughout the year. Again, flowers to them, kudos to them. But just for perspective's sake, right? So yeah, we can get into this without a doubt. I'm excited.
You want to go?
Oh, go ahead.
So, first matchup, we have UC Irvine, Penn State.
Hmm.
Uh, Obviously, first of all, I want to give flowers to Pavlik as well.
Oh, for sure.
Obviously, farewell tour for him this year. It was always fun competing against him. Awesome dude. I mean, we my freshman year we had difficulties beating Penn State, and it was still fun to see Pavlik at the other side, give you a hug at the end of the game, just kind of
Yeah,
give him
man.
flowers. So I want to give his this man his flowers because obviously I never played for him, but it was just incredible to witness what he did. Obviously, I had teammates in Puerto Rico who played for them who just say the same things. Great dude. But yeah,
Legend.
matchup is interesting. You have the IVA Player of the Year on one side, which is exciting. But you also, it's funny because it gives kind of that vibe when when Aaron Russell was in that team, where you have a guy carrying the heavy load of the offense and that side of the things, and you have a team like UC Irvine who's been historically very physical, very big. So I just want to hear your thoughts on that first matchup.
So I'm just writing a couple of notes because you're right about all of it. I want to make sure I'm touching on it as not quickly as I can, but thoroughly. So we played Irvine at the beginning of this season, just for what it's worth. And it was the very beginning of the season. More so saying that to tell you they're a different team now, or more solidified in some of the things that they wanted to have identity wise, I think. Um, Full disclosure, smacked us. It was one of those things where I don't know exactly what some of the guys thought was going to happen when we walked in there, but it's a different level for sure, just in terms of serving pressure and in terms of being able to control what our arms are bringing, right? So you could play whatever team at the beginning of the year where you're used to playing against your own team, against your own players. You get used to tendencies. You know what to do in certain situations. So it was great for us at that moment to kind of get, you know, a little bit shell shocked, but it was also a shell shocked with polish and physicality. So the first thing I'll say is UC Irvine is one of those teams, just like you said, Hawaii could be at the end of it. UC Irvine could be at the end of it. You know, you have again the brackets in front of you based on winners of. I know that UCLA will play the winner of this. Um, but if Irvine gets hot, they'll get hot. They've got a ton of physicality in the middle. They've got physicality on the left side for sure with ball control. Their service pressure from everybody is really, really good. And I think Costy's been running the offense. He's doing a really nice job as well. So when they start humming and they're doing their thing, they're running a little medium tempo and trans, they're doing some dipsy doodle type stuff. They feel good about what they've got going on. Momentum's momentum, like I said. I know a little bit more about Penn State, obviously recently playing them. They're going to give them everything they've got, and that's just going to be a barn burner of a match, in my opinion, because Penn State also has the arms. They also have the ball control. I think it's going to be who can sustain their own runs and who can stop the bleeding with 2 or 3 points max. And depending on how both Pavlik and Niffen decide to spin the dial, it could come down to a couple of different serving passing matchups and different rotations, right? If you get a couple of these guys on either team where they're serving where they can't really pass four comfortably, that could be a 1.5, 2 point type spread or break that breaks everything else open. That happens in the 17s. All of a sudden, it's 21-18 before you know it. It's 23-19, and that's the set, right? It can happen quick. So both teams, that might be one of the tougher first round matchups, not to put any shade on any of the other matchups that are there. But that's going to be one that I think is going to be heavy hitting without a doubt. Both teams have different ways to win. We got a good taste of what at least Owen Rose, Gage Gabriel, those two middles out of Penn State, both very, very athletic. I think Rose is one of the better volleyball players in the country. I know he's a middle blocker, super smooth, reads the game, in my opinion, at one of the higher levels. And I'm not just saying that because we're an East Coast type team. We played them and trying to boost them up. Um, yeah, he's the real deal. So Penn State can control the rock. It's going to be a matter of who reads the game better, and then all bets are off.
Obviously, serving's a huge part of the game, and I think I do want to go to that for the casual fan that might be listening to this, right? There's a lot of talks when you're watching a game at this high of a level, they're serving bullets because that's what
Yeah,
they're using. There's a lot of errors that go on with
yeah.
the service line. Obviously, you watch these games and they can be 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. You got 3 errors in a row. And as a casual fan, it can seem like, okay, well, what am I watching? But can you kind of break down why that is the mentality when you go out on the line? Obviously, I have my thoughts behind it, but when you go to the service line, why are you betting all the eggs in one basket? Like, go up there, you have a green light, go
Rip
up
it.
there and just rip it.
So I think there's a couple different mindsets, and I'm not trying to hit on the right one because everybody's going to have different mindsets on it. I think that is where the game has gone because if you're not putting in difficult service pressure, whether that's heat or tactics or a little bit of both, players are good enough nowadays. It's going to be treated like a down ball, and you're in 3 or 4 pass scenario and hardest situation to read in the game. So if you're gonna rip, you're always going to put the pressure on the passers to have their nervous system ready to go. And I think part of the battle with serving and passing is not allowing your passers on the other side to relax. So if you're ripping your serve, but you're missing by a foot or less, you could miss, you know, even up to 30 or 40% of your first serves. Not your first serves overall, but let's just say your first time around. Second time around, those passers are still having to go through every bit of their process in detail to make sure that they come correct, right? If you're missing into the net, if you're ripping balls out of bounds, if you're, spraying balls left and right wide, most players go back to the line and go through a little bit more of a process. They end up having to take some off. And now all of a sudden, your second time around, it's 0.7, 8, 9, 10, and you're getting free balls through 10 to 17, 18 points, right? Or your perceived free balls.
Right.
So I think that's part of it. I think there's another part of it that says there are a lot of errors, but what kind of errors are they? And that's kind of what I mean. Where if you're missing by less than a foot, I'd say green light, you got to keep ripping so long your toss is still there, right? If it's not, you got to figure out a way to manage through it. But if you're not being aggressive, at least in mindset, an aggressive mindset can be, I'm going to drop this on the 13, 14-foot line away from somebody's approach route, right? Or the line of their approach route, make an outside have to go, inside to out, take the big attacker and really push him to the line. Maybe get in and throw off the middle blocker's timing or rhythm out of their route. Maybe make the middle blocker have to pass the ball. Like those are still aggressive minded type of serves, floats or spins. But at a certain point, if you're just kind of going in to make your serve and hoping for the best, you've already lost that battle.
So I don't want to put you in the spot, but if we were to be like an ESPN show, you got to make a pick and you got to pick one of the two teams
Hmm.
that you would like to see. Well, not that you would like to see advance, because that could be a different question, but just like kind of who you feel moves on to the next stage. And then we'll go around the room.
Okay.
But you want me to go first, and then
Or is this for me?
go first for you? Whatever.
Yeah, to put the pressure off you,
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
have Gadget go first.
You know,
So you can think about
I'm
your
gonna
answer.
coach.
I like the pressure too, but go ahead if you want, Gadget.
I'm gonna rip one out. If I miss, well, I got UC Irvine winning this one. I just feel like they're just a better team right now. Even though Penn State, dominated, not dominated, but won that game at the end, the third set against you guys. I think they're carrying the momentum, and that's my take on UC Irvine.
So I think I put UC Irvine on my bracket when we shared it. But now that I think about it, this is going to be an emotional pick right now. Just because it's Pavlik.
Just being honest.
Just because it's Pavlik's last year. Okay. Just because it's EIVA.
Sentimental.
I'm a pick Penn State. Obviously Harvey, I didn't watch the whole season, but just watching him play, you can see some magic happening in there. And like you said, it's a game of momentum. He comes from an EIVA finals where he got set a lot of balls, a lot of volume. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table when they face UC Irvine. So I'm picking Penn State.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with UC Irvine. Penn State always is hard to beat. But you got a 6'10" on the side, opposite attacking. That's hard to beat. Also you got a good blocking sessions there on the front. It's a whole team. It's strong on the offense and the defense. So I think that's what I'm picking UC Irvine. Because I know Penn State is hard to beat and they got the momentum, but for me, they got the momentum Penn State, but I'm gonna go with UC Irvine.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm gonna jump on Brian's bandwagon actually here. Right. And I think I gotta give some more clarity too.
Yes.
This one's going 5. Okay. And to Brian's point, there's, at least from what I can speak to, this has nothing to do about what UCI is not doing, right? I watched them play a little bit in their conference semifinal match. Long Beach did a very, very nice job, which still isn't indicative of what Irvine is not able to do. But From what I can speak to, Pav's last ride, making some nice, and I don't want to say permanent adjustments either, but in the last 2 or 3 weeks now, we've seen them have maybe 8 to 9 guys that they can rely on. And not that UCI doesn't have that depth. I know that they have the depth as well. But they've had a few different guys that they've had to rely on who have also had to step up in order for them to be where they're at. So I'm going to go Penn State in 5, and I'm going to go deuce set in the 5th. I think it's going to come down to that.
Wow. It's gonna be
Yeah.
a long game. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch regardless, I think. I mean, obviously, we're talking, like you said, probably the tightest of matchups in the first round you can get. Obviously, now that we've all made our picks, moving on to the next matchup, you have Pepperdine and Fort Valley State.
And I want to point out that that's on ESPN Plus Friday at 9 for those who want to watch it.
Get your
Penn
free,
State UCI.
Yes.
yes.
Penn State, your
All the first round is going to be in ESPN,
ESPN
Plus. Second round, I think the whole tournament. So get your free trial while you can.
yeah. We are not sponsored by
No free ads or what, dude?
Oh, we're
Damn.
not sponsored, so just get the free.
Phew.
We can take that ESPN money if they want to throw some.
Yeah, you know.
Here's what to look for real quick before we move on, right? It's going to be, does Penn State end up putting in their freshman opposite? And is that guy going to take over parts of that match or not?
Take the pressure.
Is he ready?
Super,
for
super explosive dude. So we'll see.
It's a big moment for a freshman, so I like the take. You know.
He don't care.
Oh, so
He does not care.
That's a great.
I'm just throwing it out there, man. He does not care. I think he wants that moment, to be honest with you. So we'll see.
So next matchup, Pepperdine Fort Valley State. I know we talked a little bit off camera. I think yesterday we talked about Pepperdine
Yep.
having that ball control. They're a high ball control team. So I'm excited to see this. If I would have to pick, obviously, just off the rip, I would go with Pepperdine just because I've seen more of them. Obviously, we can make a case of Fort Valley. Obviously, they're in the tournament, so it's not like it's going to be a here you go, you're ready to move on. But I'm excited to see what Pepperdine can do. They obviously had some tough competition throughout the season, so I think they're better prepared. So I'm excited to see what that match brings. Just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Pepperdine is humongous. I think it doesn't matter who they end up matching up with. If the timelines were different up to 96 hours ago plus, and they were choosing a different bracketology or a different algorithm, they're going to be a tough out. They might be the toughest out of any of the top teams that are supposed to be there. If they get through this one against Fort Valley State, Ball State's a very, very good team. But I don't think that anybody wants to see 12-2, 12-4,
Right.
11-10, 12 feet wherever else across the board. That it's just not. And these guys aren't just rigid, trees. These boys can move, right? Like these are some serious athletes. So I think Pepperdine comes out of that one. In whichever fashion, I'm not sure. But as I looked at all the bracketology and looked this down, it's like, well, Pepperdine versus any of the teams that are here. I think all the teams are going, all right, we're going to have our work cut out for us. And it doesn't matter if you're UCLA all the way down to Long Beach and the teams that have those buys. It doesn't matter if you're Fort Valley State or if they ended up matching up against anybody else. So I know they went to 5 with USC in their semifinal, and that was a deuce set at the end as well. But yeah, there's some big boys over there.
I'm looking at the roster here. 6'10", 6'10", 6'11", 6'8", 6'7", 6'7", 6'7", 6'9", 6'7".
They can move. They can move. So
They're quick.
I think it's funny because every time when I bring that argument, obviously it sounds kind of biased coming from, at the time, I was a 6'7" setter. So, oh yeah, like taller players, whatever. But I think it's important to point out, it's not a problem until it is. And we've talked about this when we watch VNL, right? You go to a fifth set, you're tired.
Uh-huh.
You're not touching 12-3 anymore, but that guy doesn't need to jump 40 inches to touch 12-3.
Nor has he been the entire time.
Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting to see what it comes down with. You can take your pick, Gadget. We both pick Pepperdine, me and Joe.
I pick Pepperdine too.
You pick
I
Pepperdine.
love Dylan, the freshman, the middle blocker. I think he's solid.
You can change your bracket. I know you're just looking at your bracket, but
I'm looking at you, and you choose UC Irvine.
no, I took the Irvine on my bracket, but that's why, like, as I was talking to Joe, I'm like, you know what? Pavlik's last ride. I'm down. I'm down
Now
for a
you
good
choose.
ride.
But yeah,
So you picking Pepperdine on this?
yeah,
one?
I'm picking Pepperdine.
So we got a
their-
4-0 sweep on that matchup.
Yep.
By the way, huge shout out to Fort Valley. I'm excited
Yeah.
for you guys to prove us wrong. Obviously,
And shout out Larry, because you know that they're going to compete the whole time. He does things right. Yeah,
If
they're going to compete.
If Fort Valley is there, it's for a reason. So
Definitely.
they do a great job.
underdog stories are cool. So prove us wrong.
Yeah.
I love to see an underdog win.
Shit.
USC Bellman Abbey. I think USC has been, obviously you see the top teams, UCLA, Long Beach, Hawaii, but USC is a fun team to watch, I believe. They're just very athletic.
Agreed.
They have a huge middle. Their pins are flying. It's not even funny. Like, and on TV you can't even tell, but once you're watching them on, like,
In person, it's
Instagram reels, if you're watching all that stuff, you're seeing these guys are skying.
Yeah, but going
Mhm.
back to the serving, I think serving is their Achilles. Right. Well, for the games that I watch, like I seen they have so many serving errors compared to the rest that I don't know. You might have more knowledge on that, but I feel that will be the difference. Whoever they play, I think they have all the tools to win it all, but their serving errors are so consistent in a way, or they're so inconsistent serving that I think that would be. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose the first match, which I don't have them losing, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if they have a game like that.
Fair point. It's a game of errors. We're seeing
For
like,
sure.
talking about, when
I would say you might be traditionally right, Gadget, right? You scoured some of the matches that they've played. Maybe recently that's happened, but it's about what are you doing for me in this moment? And again, all I'm gonna do is speak to what I can. A lot of heart, a lot of compete, a lot of dog on that team as well. And almost just as, or more importantly, in my opinion, guys that are going to elevate their game when the lights are brightest. So I don't know which way the service error or service pressure is going to go. It could be one of those things where they just kind of together and they're like, yep, we got it, and we find our groove. And then they're, in the top 5 conversation still, without a doubt, right? But I do understand the other side of that discussion where it's like, damn, are we kind of gonna keep putting holes in our boat here while we're trying to find safety and find these victories? Are we shooting ourselves in the foot with some of these service errors, maybe letting a team or two hang in there that on paper would not normally belong, giving them a little bit more hope or a little bit more life than traditionally deserved, right?
I think looking at Bellman Abbey, I haven't necessarily seen a lot of matches, but obviously we played them when I was in school, and I've seen matches.
They got some ballers too. And shout out to Derek. Derek's out there doing his thing as well.
And it's just one of those things. It's one of those teams that come in, they know nobody's necessarily picking them in a bracket, but they got nothing to lose. And those are the teams that are very dangerous in this stage. I remember going out to Bellman Abbey, it being a 5-setter, just because these guys are going to go as hard as they can,
Yep.
looking back, and it can be dangerous for any team. So,
An experience too. There's an experienced team.
yeah,
Sure. Absolutely. I think they've won now 3 conference titles in a row, right? And they have a young core that's, I think at least 4 of those guys have won those 3 titles together. So to your point, Gadget, that could be the team that gives a team like USC some trouble.
Yeah, I have it on winning I got Belmont Abbey winning just because
look
what
at
they
you.
say during they're being hot, so they're on the moment. USC, as you mentioned, they got a lot of errors. So, but I like underdog stories, and they say that underdogs may be unafraid. Absolutely. So the road, they know there can be underdogs, but they're giants. I love the quick game,
Mhm.
and what I saw is I think they're hot to getting that to the next stage. Let's see how it goes. My opinion.
I like it. Throwing that bomb in there like that. I like it. That's nice.
We have one Belmont Abbey.
Yeah.
I'm going with USC.
For
Yes, see.
USC over here. Joe, final pick.
Yeah. I'm gonna go USC as well. Not to have Carlitos sway me too much here. But you know
quick.
what I'll do? You know what I'll do is I'll say USC in four though, right? Because of what you're talking about as well, Gadget. I'm just trying to take in all the information. Before that, it was I trust what Derek is doing without a doubt. And I know I spoke with him a little bit over the winter break about what he's got going on with his team, which is nice stuff. We've got a chance to play USC at the beginning of the year as well. To Brian's point, they got some big boys. They got some guys that are flying around on that side of the court as well. And
Those men.
Jeff knows what he's doing. I know Rory fairly well to really well, and he's awesome. So uh, the technicals and the vibes will be very intact on USC's side. I'll tell you that right now. I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna change my pick. I'm gonna go with them in three actually.
Okay. Feeling
Yeah.
confident. I like
Yeah.
it. Given the sets and everything, I like it.
Yeah. As I'm saying it, it's like, listen, guys, I'd be going against some of my intuition, but
I love the statistics.
Next matchup, we have Loyola Chicago and St. Francis. Obviously, if I were to do the same thing I did with Penn State, I wouldn't have the same love. Not because I didn't like the guys. It was always a fiery match. It was always fun to play them. Obviously,
hmm
moved on to a new conference, I believe. Correct? They're in the NEC
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. They've been for a couple years now. Yeah.
There's a bunch of scrappy teams in that conference. I like to say that. So it's not necessarily super easy to come out of that conference. So props to St. Francis coming out of there. They're going to face a historically tough team to play. Loyola has always been known for just being solid. They're consistent. They don't necessarily shine or outshine in many aspects of the game, but they're just good at being good.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just a way better approach because you know what you're going to get. So I'm picking Loyola just because of what I just said. I like to hear your guys' thoughts.
I got Loyola, and again, stock height. You got a middle blocker, the tallest player in the tournament, 7'2" freshman, Oscar Burke. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That height again. I go to height.
7 feet will do it for you.
I'm
He
you know,
loves
I know we
Dexter.
got
Middles.
we need 6 players, but when you
He
got a
loves the position.
7'2" up there, is tough, and they got some veteran leadership in that team that I think they got what it takes to beat St. Francis.
I go with Loyola because, as Brian mentioned, the consistency is a team that is like always at the same level. It's like they're very clean when they play, so you can expect that they're gonna be good or they're gonna be great, but they're not gonna go down. So I think that level of quality of being constant and everything, I think that's gonna pass to the next.
What
So
about you, Joe? How you feeling about this matchup? Talk to me.
So it's very interesting. Brian, you remember how fast St. Francis runs?
All the time, every
Yeah.
year.
Every year, all the time. But nobody has an answer for it right off the bat. Nobody has an answer for it in the first 5 to 10 points of the game, let alone the first set. Now, they might not win the first set every time. They go for broke on their serves a lot. I know that for sure. They're going to green light just about everybody that they can. I watched them a little bit this year. They've got a setter who's big. He's not a blocking liability whatsoever. He can be physical at the net, and with how quickly they're running, if they pass the rock, again, they're a tough out for any team. Loyola serves bombs. They can really get after from the service line. So that's kind of where it's going to come down to. Obviously, it's cliche, serving and passing. Uh, But if they stay in medium passes, St. Francis now, and they're running that third and a half, fourth step type shoot back and forth, running the bit quick, running the, it's just you're gonna have to play good. It's a matchup like you just said. Loyola's gonna have to play steady and well the entire time and just keep it disciplined. They can keep it disciplined like that and kind of see where the projections go in terms of, oh, more times than not, this is where this is going to go more times than not. We just got to bait our time. We got to watch. We got to be patient. I think Loyola is still going to come out of that, but it wouldn't surprise me if it is 3-0, where it's 25-23, 26-24, 25-22, or even another deuce set. I think it's going to be one of those types of matches where St. France might be able to take one. Who knows, right? Like I said, Loyola's got it in terms of coaching staff and how well-rounded they can approach this match. They'll be prepared for it without a doubt. But same way you're going to face Pepperdine, it's like, whoa, these guys are 7 feet tall. Whoa, that is 12 and change feet. Third and a half step, fourth step type stuff, when you get a ball bounced by you is kind of holy smokes. All right, you recalibrate, early. And if you don't recalibrate early, you could run into a little bit of damage control or need it. So I'm going to go Loyola in 3, but I think a tight one.
Beautiful. And now, with that being said, we're going to take a little pause.
Yeah.